hall, I was just saying that we don't have a lot happening today because I'm not sure how many groups they're not ready yet. But anyway, I'll go through that a little bit. Just a couple of central updates. We're going to be having the working groups come on for the next town halls. So the next 3 months of the town halls will be whoever is presenting it or doing their planning and presentations at the SIGs in May will come on and sort of give, a preliminary presentation so that we can get feedback. And so all of that will be fun. So I've been reaching out to everybody and I'll show you the dates. I think none of you guys are on except Ariane. So nice to see you. And then we'll just have a Q&A. Very, very excited that this is now in copy editing. So probably in the next few months, well, definitely before the meeting, you're going to have a wonderful, beautiful handbook, new handbook. So that we're now at the copy editing stage. That is amazing and it's going to look wonderful. I've been showing people on their meeting list just about all these downloadable forms that we have and the newsletters and conference stuff and that. So I do tell people about that, but some people say to me, I don't really, now that we've moved from the workbook to the downloadable forms, that they're having trouble. They shouldn't have trouble finding the downloadable forms. They're like really well formatted and easy to get, but please reach out again if some of the groups are having trouble finding those forms. They're on our
But
website.
the
On a
forms also too, Bev, sorry, should also be in the shared folders for
shared
each of the working
directory.
groups. So they
Exactly.
shouldn't really, this we put as sort of a resource for
Yeah.
everybody out there, but really working groups should be only using what's in their shared folders.
And they should have, exactly, that's what I was going to say. And
Okay.
you've also been given your shared folders and we've been using and going through. Now, not all the groups I think have their shared link yet. Most of you have.
Can you
Um,
just send me an email after this of who doesn't have that? Because everyone should.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
The people going to the meeting all do. Yeah, awesome. Thank you. And I also been promoting our e-learning. So we have lots of wonderful e-learning, and I'm not sure how many people use it. Like we've been sending it out to people, and some people every now and then someone will say, "Oh, I couldn't get in," or "Wow, I really enjoyed that." So just to continue to promote within your working groups our e-learning modules, um, especially those who are, doing the meeting and their domain selection, instrument selection. These are excellent. So please, please, please reach out or share these with the groups as well.
All the PRPs are doing them.
Yeah,
It's required work prior to the conference.
and they love them.
They
They're,
do. They
yeah,
do.
working groups always promote them. Yeah, they
And they're
love.
good refreshers too, because we make everybody do them. So even when you've done it 4 times, you get to do it again. But it's a great refresher anyway.
Yeah, yeah. No, they love them. Well, I love the e-learning stuff. So, and sometimes people will send me a message and say, "Oh, I couldn't get in, but they forgot to register or something." And it's like, the instructions are very clear. And Shauna actually has done a really good job or an excellent video as well of how to register. So it shouldn't be hard, and people are really enjoying these e-learning modules. So again, share them with the groups if you haven't already. Um, and then I guess this is our schedule. So what I've been doing is reaching out. Do I have that right, Shauna? Um,
No, is this a screenshot from the website? Because it looks so.
I know I need to fix it. I don't know what happened there. It wasn't a screenshot, but I need to fix it.
Okay.
I will. Yeah, I'll put
As
it
long as
in.
it doesn't look like that on the website, I'm fine.
Oh, no, it doesn't. I added in those dates and I think it made it kind of squishy.
Okay.
So just some people have been asking me about the previous town halls. So yeah, I will fix these dates and the previous town halls are all on our resource. So the town halls are recorded. So I'm just going to go there. Like someone said, "Oh, I missed this Cosmin guideline." So if it was an excellent session that Martin and Ellen and Dorcas and Catherine had given in December. So if you missed it, it is recorded and you can find it on our town hall resource paper or Shauna, did you want to add to that? So people have been asking. So I need to fix this, but these are the dates. So what we've been asking people for these dates are each of the groups will now come. I've been reaching out to every single group, so they're going to come for those dates and present the work, as I said. So if your group is presenting, the shoulder group will be, so I've reached out to them. So if your groups are presenting, we would like you to come and sort of do a presentation at one of the town halls, February, March, or April, so that we can you can ask questions and sort of do a dry run and have discussions about that. Shauna, did you want to add to that?
Just to say, I think it's more about an update, not necessarily a dry run of what you're going to be doing at the meeting, because you don't want to sort of give away your secrets. But I see them more as sort of a check-in, as opposed to we don't need to see your materials. We don't need to see.
Yeah, they don't have to present the whole thing, but if they check in with us, they can ask us. People can ask questions about
Exactly.
their materials and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I've been asking people, and some of the timing I think isn't right or good, but yes, people are excited to be able to do that.
Will there be an invite directly to the to our inboxes? I don't think I have any at this point.
No, so I've been asking people like Dorte, I've been asking, I should probably send out the message to the group instead. Because
Who else would it go to?
no, I've been asking them like on our working group meetings, but I'll send out an email to the groups because I've just been inviting people as we have a meeting, sort of saying, we're having this town hall opportunity for you to come and give updates. So that's how it's been going to the working groups, but I've been doing it online or in person at their meetings. So I've sent out a message to some people, but not all. So Robin, your group hasn't been invited yet.
Yeah, that would be good if you could send that out today.
Because not everyone will present the same month, right? We're trying to stagger it a little bit, but some of the groups were not ready, and then we were trying to stagger it a little bit. But I'll invite everyone at the same time and sort of let me know if those dates work.
Sorry to interrupt. Could groups reach out to you now, Bev,
Yeah,
if they know the
that's why
date? So if Robin knows, then he can reach out to you and say
Yeah.
he'd like a chance.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
it's just to give an update, just, what is it about, any barriers to the work before OMRAT, that
Yeah.
type of thing. It's not, as Shauna says, we aren't expecting you to talk about your results. It's more to give us an update on how your work's going and how can we support it.
Yeah, yeah, and Susanna on the meeting yesterday, I brought that up as well. So that each of the groups will have an opportunity in those 3 meetings to give updates. Does that make sense? So if people know that their Dorte is on here, so if you know that which month works for you, please just send me a quick message and I can fill you in that. I don't know how many updates, like how many groups do you think we could fit in for the hour? Shauna, 4? 3?
In an hour, 4?
Okay, perfect. So I've already gotten a couple of dates from people, so that's good.
So you just choose a date for us and let me know when it's going to be.
Great, thank you. And Ariane, the problem I think with the shoulder group, they keep telling me, well, Romy is away, so she couldn't do this week, but about the timing, the 8 a.m. But maybe someone like maybe your
April, because the times change, right? Change back to better.
Right.
I think it would be better when Romy or one of the fellows did it, but if you keep it on these kind of time frames, that's just in the middle of the night for Australia. So all the Australians can't do it. And then you have Sophia or Joel, who are in the northern part of the hemisphere.
Yeah.
Then they're able to do it. But yeah, I'm not sure whether it's possible to have a change of times for the shoulder one, because I think Romy would be happy to do it. Otherwise, the Canadian fellows, but they're just fresh, so I'm not sure whether they feel confident enough to do it all. But
But I think Shauna just said that the time in April when it changes, it will probably work for them.
I thought
It'll
we
be
needed
better,
to do
it
it in
won't work.
February. We were scheduled on February, wasn't it?
February, March, and April, 3 different months. They have.
But April, it's just 2 hours difference. I'm not sure whether it solves the problem.
Okay,
because I
well, we
think
can
it's about
probably take it
midnight.
offline. We won't be changing the tag town hall times, but
And just to
Yeah.
refresh that we
Whatever.
did try doing that once, but it didn't work out really well for
No.
folks anyway. So that's why we sort of went back to the one time. But they will get, your groups will get support. So don't,
Yeah, I
Yeah.
understand. I'm happy for that. But maybe Joel or Sophia can
Yeah.
do it.
mhm.
They're excellent. They've been part of it as well. So, yeah. And sure, any of the other groups, Karen, you're not in there. Susanna, we talked about, we didn't set the date or the month for your quick update, but we could do that offline, whatever works best for you. Your timing is also okay, I think, for you, right? Because of the 8 a.m. is okay for your Eastern time, or for the timing for you?
Yeah, it's getting on for midnight here now. But that's when we normally meet for most of my meetings. I think I've done my entire OMACT experience.
yeah, I was like, every time I
over the
talk to
last 2 years
Susanna,
at midnight.
Yeah.
No wonder I'm mostly garbled.
Friday nights at
No.
midnight is our scleroderma call, and Susanna's been doing that for, I think, 4 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We always think the Australians are so kind and so, but then we realize the only ones that join are to stick with it are the ones that are up at midnight for meetings.
Exactly, yeah.
So accommodating and
And the remission group, yeah, the remission, you meet anyway at 7:30, so that works for you.
Yeah. So we can't argue that we can't come to this one because we have been doing it. Yeah. So I'm not sure what's happening with the scleroderma one, but the vasculopathy working group, but we'd be looking for, February, March. Maybe March might be a good meeting for us. I think there might be a bit of a rush in April.
Yeah, I think so too.
Can I just make a correction, Bev?
Yeah.
For our group, I can see April is not a good month for us, but any other but April.
Okay, perfect. You
Yeah.
guys are great, thank you. And Robin, Karen.
So Bev, after this call, if you can create an email to all of the working groups with a schedule of the months and who's presenting when, and then maybe we can just send it to all of the group leaders going to 2025 and just CC Dorcas and I, that'd be great.
Yeah. And Andrew, did you have anything?
I can give an update on a couple things if you're looking for something to fill. Is that what's happening right now?
One thing could be more helpful because I am an imager and methodologist, and I think imaging usually is an outcome measure that is used in different settings, and it's not like a group that we have, I think, about one specific disease. I think I see my role in this committee more to provide, I think, expertise in imaging in different groups. So I just wanted to know how I can be of help. And I think if there is something that you want me to present, I think just let me know what could be helpful, because it's not going to be specifically in one group, but it will be across different groups.
Awesome, yeah.
I think I'm happy to discuss either here or offline. I think how I could contribute, I think, to individual groups as like a more horizontal I think evaluator, or I think discuss, I think, how we can implement diagnostic tests.
And the same thing applies to contextual factors, by the way.
Yeah, because it's coming up in all the different groups, and again, with those. Awesome, thank you.
Yeah, because there are some vertical discussions, and I think there will be some horizontal discussions. I probably will be more in terms of the horizontal discussion.
Yeah, awesome, thank you. And Shauna, you wanted to
Yeah, I can give a few updates just about things sort of happening with OMERACT in the background. I'm going to steal Dorcas's thunder on one thing out of the gate, and that is, I'm not sure if a lot of you have heard, but Dorcas has been working very hard on a SOMP paper that has now just been accepted. That's like fresh news on Friday. So we have to do an edit to a couple of figures that I made mistakes on, but that'll be finished and published. Yeah, thank you, Dorcas. That's very hard work and very amazing. And so that should be coming out in the not too distant future. And along with that, Dorcas has been working a lot on, and you can take over if you want, but I'll keep talking until you, okay, there we go, there she is. A lot on the instrument selection chapter. And so when we started editing chapter 5, and what you'll really see when we publish chapter 5 in the also not too distant future is we've broken it out into 2 parts, and we've been talking about it, but you haven't actually seen what this looks like in all of the materials. But so part A, where your domain match and feasibility lie, and then part B, when you go into the more detailed review. And so we were together at ACR, and we started looking at the materials that we had and realized we don't really have a sample protocol to give to everybody when they start the process. And most of you on the call know that because you've started the process and figured it out on your own. So she's gone back and developed that, and I think it's going to be a very good resource for working groups in part A and part B. And I think those things are also being published with the results of the promise review stuff. Dorcas can correct me if are we publishing those,
Hi.
Dorcas?
Yeah, there's 2 protocols. One's the feasibility and domain match, and I'm open to what should happen to that one. Right now, we just have it sort of set up for, we're looking at instrument XXX to measure YYY sort of thing. The systematic review protocol, we registered it with Prospero, and so it's going to be up on the Prospero link. And then we are thinking about publishing the systematic review protocol just so that it's sort of out there. Yeah, and open to any questions. It's, we're providing these for people so that if they want and they want to get on and get into the work, then they can step into that. And we really also appreciate it when people really pause with the methods and might have a suggestion for how they might try something a little bit differently. Of course, that takes a little bit longer because then we all have to think through that process when it is changed, but we aren't the police, we're the helpers, we're the mentors. So hope that helps. And it's a natural break between part A and part B. We're finding groups were getting all the way through part A, and they'd have this colossal amount of sort of paperwork and checklist ahead of them. But maybe at the end of the feasibility and domain match, they decide not to include that instrument because it's just not a match for their target domain as defined in their domain definition work. And so they can set that aside. It could work for another group. It's just not going to work for them, or work in another disease group, for example. So that's okay. So we wanted to sort of streamline that end of the process. So you could stop there, say, am I going to continue? Yes or no, before you delve into the whole systematic review for those instruments.
Okay, thank you.
So do you have the protocol? Can you share the protocol with people? Or
Yeah, so it's right now, it's out with the people that were involved in the writing of the protocol.
Mhm.
So it's out for them just for edits, just to go to have a look through it. And then we will put it up on public display. Yeah. The nice thing is that it did make it through the Prospero process, and now we're going to link it to Prospero. And that's good that we finally got one of our protocols up in Prospero.
And Shauna, sorry, Addie was next.
You go ahead, Bev.
Shauna, is that something as well that will be published in seminars?
Well, it's up. Seminars will publish protocols now for us. So I know, for instance, our pain working group, we had a call yesterday, and they're doing a protocol. Although this isn't my recommendation or OMERACT's it's an option that when you're looking for an instrument to bring through the filter, one of our options is a scoping review to find every instrument that exists. I'm not sure it's the most useful exercise, but people like to do it. So they will be publishing their protocol for a scoping review to find instruments to measure nosoplastic pain. So that will be published in seminars. So it's an option. You can publish with Open Science. You can publish with Prospero. From the OMRAC sort of recommendation, when you're in this process, you would, in most cases, you've already registered your domains with Comet. So you'd go in, you'd update your Comet project to say now that you're working on instrument selection. You'd publish your protocol either on Open Science or seminars. If you are going the seminars route, I just created an OMRAC publication checklist to help our working groups so that they know all of the things even before you start submitting and uploading everything into seminars. Because what we've been seeing is you start uploading everything into seminars and you're like, oh no, now I need this form and now I need that form. And it's just nicer once you go in to just have it all in a shared folder, everybody's disclosures, everybody's credit author statements and links to all of those things. So that just went out to Caitlin and the peers group this week, just because it was the first time anyone had ever used it. And I want to see if it worked okay. So that'll be in everyone's shared folders in the not too distant future as well.
So adding the authors in the seminars paper is just really difficult. I don't know if you had that issue.
100. Well, I find it easier than JRoom personally, but
but it's the patient partners too. I think I think we couldn't add patient partner. I don't remember what we did in the end. It was just such a nightmare.
I don't know why they make it so complicated. You should just be able to upload like an Excel file or something with everybody's information. I know. I agree.
It's like if they don't have their affiliation stuff in there, it's hard to add one in. Just so for Prospero though, I don't think they will publish the scoping review.
No.
Just a systematic review. So you'd have to go with Open Science or seminars for scoping.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Addie, patiently waiting. Thank you.
And I'm glad actually I let you go first because you've had a good discussion about great journals, JRoom's amazing, seminars amazing, Open Science. I have a conflict of interest, but I just would like to also bring to the attention of OMRAC the ILAR journal, Clinical Rheumatology, as Peter Tugwell knows, that's the ILAR journal. And again, Bev knows I'm always sort of championing lower middle income countries because it's the ILA journal. They tend to look at that a bit more than seminars and in JRoom and so on. So I'm simply advocating. I'm editor-in-chief, and it will go through the robust processes. So I can't give any guarantees. It's got to be transparent and research integrity and all that. But just from time to time, if you would consider Clinical Rheumatology, which is the ILA journal, as I say, as editor-in-chief, I'm sort of revamping it, reinvigorating it, reimagining it, and all those things. So from time to time, if you could think, is there something that might be appropriate for that journal? And I certainly hope so. It's a shame if I look back and think back, I can't remember any OMRAC papers in that journal, and it's been the ILAR journal, which, ILAR is something which people like Peter Tugwell, got going many years ago, and it's still going in a different form, and it's got a global reach. And as I say, unfortunately, some of these other great journals are not reaching, the global majority from the lower middle income countries, and the ILA journal. But of course, you'd expect me to say that as the editor-in-chief of the journal. But that was the only comment I wanted to make. But thank you so much.
Thanks, Addie.
Peter, do you want to add to that, Peter?
Yeah, I think that's a great reminder. Thanks, Addie. Let us think about that and see if we can find something specific to discuss with you.
Yeah, that's awesome. Excellent suggestion. Thank you. I think that's it. One of the things that we've been discussing, and I'm not sure we brought it up here, but people have been sort of hinting about our reports and how we maybe need to get the domain definitions and their detailed definition in a user-friendly language. Some people have been thinking that some of the domain definition reports. So I'm going to have a look at some of those to see if we can, and I don't know if anyone, Kathy or others, have a suggestion, but when they look at the detailed definitions with our domains, they're like, oh, this might be a little bit higher than a 6 to 8 level language.
I thought that, but that's funny that you say that. So I was looking, we're having a call about a definition for nose of plastic paint I was talking about. And so they're going ahead and using the IASP definition. And I looked at it yesterday and I was like, oh, that is
Yeah.
interesting. And I don't know, it would be an interesting discussion if we had, I mean, I guess you're supposed to get endorsement on your definition. So it should be going to your steering committee, including your PRPs and your fellows and your emerging leaders, to
But
get
sometimes,
okay.
yeah, but sometimes what happens is we think, oh no, that's perfect. And then two other people outside completely are like, I don't understand a word that's saying.
Huh? Dorcas?
Can I just get clarification? Is it the wording of the definition, like the actual terms in the definition, or is
Oh.
it something about the form?
No, like the wording of a
The
definition.
way, okay,
Form's good.
thanks so much.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So,
Yeah.
yeah, maybe we add, well, I don't really want to have a lay. Yeah, I don't know. It would be an interesting discussion if we
Yeah,
had
and-
looked at some of them.
And what I really like is that we're getting enough critical mass up now that working groups are reaching out to other working groups who might have a similar domain to
Yeah.
just look at the different definitions and see if there's a fit between the different definitions. And that's, of course, that's our goal, is to see if we can get that kind of collaboration across the working groups.
Yeah.
It's great to see.
I can't get it to work for some reason. I've been trying different things, but there is a section on the website with all of the definitions. I've been trying to get it so that when you click on details, it pulls up a report, but I am by no means a web designer. But right now it has the working group, the target domain name, and the definition and the OMRAC core areas and stuff. And so that's up on the website, but my search function, I can't seem to figure out, and I can't get it to pull your report nicely, but hopefully that's coming in the future. But for right now, groups can go to the website and see all of the published or endorsed definitions from all of the working groups to date. I think there's about 40 on there.
Wow. Wow.
And I'll toss the link in the chat. But
That's
again,
awesome.
it's not super user friendly right now because you have to scroll through. It's like not alphabetical and all of the things. I hope to fix it, but it's at least up there for people to see for right now.
You're amazing, Shauna. Yeah, thank you. So yeah, that's something that I think would be very good for OMERACT, because other people use these as well, so outside the group. And I didn't have anything else. Dorcas, did you have anything else that you?
No, have we asked, are there questions from any of the working groups? To ask anything, questions for us from you folks?
Dorte, did you?
Doesn't have to be done, can be.
No, I know. She's
I don't
very,
think so, no.
And
I've
Dorothy,
sent a few mails to Shauna, so hopefully we hear from her in the near
yeah,
future.
I was just gonna say we haven't forgotten about your tag submission. Hopefully you'll hear something. Sorry, this is exactly what we thought would happen. We tried to plan out all these tag sort of submission deadlines and things, and everything has been sort of as
In July, wasn't it, Shauna?
yeah,
July
exactly.
and August?
We had a very long call in July trying to plan for all of this, and here we are. So we're trying to get things back to people as fast as possible. So
And our survey as well, which is the latest we sent to you. That's probably
the multi,
the
yeah,
one
that's what I'm talking.
priority.
You got the reply on the other one. You're good to go, Green.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, she just wants
Yeah.
On the single item, right?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
And so, yeah. And so your survey just has to go out. Yes, sorry.
Right.
One other thing to add in, sorry, this is sort of from Kathy, but we are going to be sending to all of your PRPs and your working groups. So at OMERACT 2023, we talked about the peer framework and scoring sort of patient engagement in the working groups. And so we did an exercise post-meeting We sent it out to all the PRPs, but it was one of the big feedback points we got from them was, I want to be able to answer this per working group. It's really hard to say how I'm engaged when I'm working across 3 groups, because as you know, each working group is sort of unique in the way that they engage their PRPs. And so they found it difficult to sort of average it out. So we're going to be resending that survey for them to score, and we're asking them, okay, so I'm going to select working group safety, let's say. And so here's my engagement score for safety. And then it's sort of a branching exercise. Here's my replies for remission, if you have a PRP who's involved in both. And so we've allowed it so that they can do up to 5. If we have a PRP who's involved in more than 5 working groups, they'll send me an email, they'll get another sort of survey to do it. But just to say, those are going to be coming out, and they're going to be sort of, the result of that survey is going to be a big part of this session at OMERACT 2025, talking about patient engagement and sort of what are we doing really well, what maybe areas of improvement across the groups. We certainly won't be saying like, oh, the group X scored 4 and group X scored 100 and this group is better and worse. We won't be doing that. We're going to try and sort of average it out. It is a challenge, and it's what we struggled with initially. Some groups only have 1 or 2 PRPs, so when we share the results, they're going to know where they came from. And so we asked the PRPs if they were okay with that, and they were. So that's going to be coming this week. We had a call yesterday about just adding 1 question. And so that'll be going to all our PRPs working within the group. So if there's any PRPs you think that maybe we haven't reached out to in your group, please send that information along. Like we try and get it as much as we can between the mailing list and all of those things. But if you think there's anyone I'm missing, please just send it along.
Thank you. Susanna.
No, I don't. We're just now trying to really pull together the material for our meetings. We're waiting on a tag report on our independence group. And we've had one recently from the scleroderma group. So I think we're coming to grips with some of the changes and really just worrying about May now.
And the scleroderma group voted successfully.
Yes.
I think 97, they got 97 and 96, I think, yeah, on their core domain set. So thank you to anyone who completed those modules and voted. We got
an excellent response.
Yeah, we got
the number of respondents. Way to go, OMERACT.
Well, that was Shauna. That was all down to Shauna and some wordsmithing, some forceful wordsmithing from some members of the working group.
Yeah, I'm happy we didn't send out some of the other options that Peter Merkel was proposing. We went with the more softer toned emails, but we did see that a little bit of a barrier when we initially sent it out was I was asking people to log in, create an account for the online modules, and then go through. It felt like when we removed that so that they were able to just click and start the module and then vote, that seemed to really help our numbers. We were stuck around 50 and we ended up around 250. So we were very happy with that.
And also, just, so people know as well that module, that's how we're putting together our voting. So now the CPPD and the POLOS are all putting together those wonderful modules for their voting. That's our future voting. So I think most people in the end liked it, liked the module, and it was easy to use, easy to do. Not the module.
It's a nice way to tell a story of the work, to pull together the milestones of all the papers.
Yeah, well, the module itself is probably Shauna did, but people, I gotten good feedback on when people actually did the module and did the voting and stuff. We've gotten good feedback on that, I think so. So the CPPD are working on theirs now.
And unfortunately, with the updates, all of our modules are going to need a bit of a refresh. So our domains and our instrument online modules are just slightly out of date. So those will sort of get a bit of an alignment once we publish those next chapters, but I don't see that happening for me before the meeting.
And Shauna, what is the expectation for having these updates? Will be annual or every
No,
2?
it would kill me.
No.
So we've been working on this one for 3 years. I would like to see the handbook settle in at least for 2 OMERAC meetings. So let's say it comes out for 2023. Maybe we look at 2027 for the next update.
Okay.
Yeah, this one is a pretty big update, to be honest, when you see sort of the old one and the new one.
I'd say update more in terms of forms, introduction,
and
introducing
format.
AI, the
Yeah.
resources we've been working on, like
The
how to find an
complicated stuff.
instrument. Yeah, so we've built a bit more into it. Yeah, but we're hoping to just stabilize it for a while. But it has been, and surprise to us, because we always feel like everything's changing, but it's changing for us because we're inside trying to get the next version ready. But it was the filter 2.2 was 2021.
Yeah, that update handbook was 21. So
Yes.
But
It feels like it's every day.
Yeah,
you know,
for us it's all the time, but yeah.
Yes, the only thing is that the applications for AI are evolving very quickly. So I think every time we do these updates, we need to be cognizant that I think there will be many changes in these 4 years, or I think for the next review. So I think it's something that probably we need to take into consideration, at least for email. Huge.
Yeah, I would
absolutely
think definitely for you guys will be big impact. And maybe we need to have a discussion to a tag about what is sort of a paper we want to publish that points to something as far as OMERAC methods go, and then what constitutes a full update of the handbook, which is like a sort of a whole other beast of work.
Also, I think there is a lot, to consider about generative AI that people are using, what is allowed, not allowed, and there are some regulations that is changing. So maybe having even someone from legal to be able to discuss. I know that people from Europe are much more developed in terms of regulations for generative AI than people from North America. So maybe asking, having someone in an advisory role to just discuss what has already been established in terms of regulations. This would be something important.
I think Europe has a whole department, don't they, of AI policy. It's really Dorcas and I were on a call, I think it was with the Stiller some time ago, and they had someone from like the AI department of the government talking about how to handle all of these things. But that's a good idea.
Yeah,
I know someone, from London, UK, who is a lawyer on, specialized on regulations for generative AI. And I saw a lecture, 2 weeks ago about all the regulations that they have. Maybe this person could come for just to give even an update to us where things are. I can put in contact and I think can go from there.
I would certainly be interested. I am a big AI user. I'm certainly interested in that. But yeah, that would be interesting.
It would be good to also link into the Cochrane in terms of the AI and reviews, and the Cochrane group is doing a lot on AI as well.
Yeah.
And Andrew, we sort of held at the more predictive AI for the screening of titles and abstracts, and at this point the generative AI hasn't really done really well in extracting data from articles, especially about measurement properties. So we didn't recommend it for that, but we're sort of saying for screening titles and abstracts, it seems to have done a pretty good job on Promisor.
Yeah.
And also, I think another thing is that I think is evolving a lot the types of platforms for generative AI. Most people know just ChatGPT, but there are many of them, Claude, Studio AI, and each one, I did even some testing, I think, just for myself to try to compare the outputs from different platforms. And they are different. Some of them are very good, some of them are terrible. And some of them are specifically for medicine, for references. So each one has a different role or something like that. So,
yeah.
That would be a good town hall presentation and discussion.
It would be. That's a very good idea.
Mhm.
It's a very good idea.
Yeah. Addie.
Thank you. No, so AI is a very exciting and a very powerful tool. A group of us in the United Kingdom, led by the University of Birmingham. So it's not Birmingham, Alabama, it's the University of Birmingham, the United Kingdom. We've just published in New England Medical Journal, Nature Medicine, the Lancet Digital, about biases and about minoritized groups, how they can be disadvantaged through big data and AI and so on. So I would just draw Umarac's attention to those. The New England Journal has just come out in the last 2 or 3 weeks.
Thank you.
Actually, one of those, I think it's the Nature Medicine one, is actually primarily relating to patient engagement and their perspective as well. So I think it's something that's very helpful. And then the other thing I just mentioned in passing, 2 quick things. One is that during the ACR, the Journal of Rheumatology hosted a meeting of editors, international editors of rheumatology journals, and AI was one of the things, as you'd imagine, that we discussed at length. So in terms of journals you're submitting to and so on, it's important you have a look at their AI regulations and the like. And you're absolutely right. The United Kingdom is certainly involved very heavily in developing regulations for AI. And then finally, moving away from AI and back to PRPs, I just want to check with the questionnaire which was mentioned earlier. Obviously, you're refining the questions, but it's always important, in my view, to have free text as well, because sometimes the PRPs want to say something which is not captured by your questions. I just want to check that in addition to the questions, there would be the opportunity for some free text. I think I've spoken for long enough, so I'm going to stop there. Thank you.
No, it's great. I like it. It's perfect. There is free text that the PRPs can add for each of the working groups under the in the survey that's going to go around about engagement. Yeah.
Awesome. Kathy, did you have anything? Oh, this is amazing discussion. Thank you. And I think
just to
Arian,
say, sorry, Bev, I'm stealing more time. But
no, this is amazing. You're awesome. Thank you.
Sorry, registration for OMERACT 2025 is open and underway. I know some people on this call are already registered, so thank you for doing that. If you go to the OMERACT website, it's right at the top. You can click there. Emails have gone out to our fellows and our emerging leaders. Those programs are going to be starting soon with, they sort of do meet and greets like the PRPs, although they're not PRP started, I think, in June of last year, or we're going into our 6th meet and greet, I think, or 4th. So those invitations will be coming hopefully shortly. I'm just waiting for dates from the leaders and what those programs are going to look like. There was one other thing I wanted to say. Oh, 2 other things. One, the OMERACT newsletter is going to be coming out this week, but just to let you know, in it is going to be a reminder to everyone that we are looking for a new chair of methodology for OMERACT. So with that will be sort of what we're looking for and how to apply and all of those things, and hoping to have someone in place by the OMERACT meeting to work with Dorcas over the next 10 years during her transition period that she's agreed to. So,
I'm sure Martin, yeah.
And then, I said that. I said the newsletter registration. Oh, the other thing that's come out is the OMRAC policy manual. I think that was in the December newsletter, but really good information in there for working group leaders. I mean, for everybody, but especially for working group leaders. We've included sort of terms of reference for working group leaders, for working group members, for all of the different stakeholder or collaborator types in your groups. Also, the publication policy that now includes a little section about AI that we sort of just added in right before that got published. Those are the three things that I was thinking about. So that's it for me now. Sorry, Bev. As things are popping into my brain to update.
No, like you're amazing. So one thing I wanted to ask, is it too late for, well, not too late, but one of the fellows from one of the groups has a new fellow to
bring him in.
Great, thank you. It's my situs. So
they haven't had a fellows meeting yet. So they've got an email from me saying, welcome to the fellows program. This is what sort of it looks like. This is what we do at a meeting. This is what the schedule looks like, but they haven't had their meet and greet. I think it's going to be in February, but I don't think it's ever too late to
No,
join.
me neither.
So.
Ellen is already part of.
Oh, she already got all of it yesterday.
Oh, thank you. You're always ahead. Thank you. Perfect. Yeah, she's going to be amazing, and she'll do the presentation in person, so it's perfect. And then Dorcas, yeah. You got your hand up.
I did have my hand up because I wanted to go back to the replacement of Dorcas' role and just put a little plug in to say that one of the reasons why we've been working so hard on getting the handbook and the forms organized and resources available is that the new chair can walk in and feel like they've got a good foundation, and then they can decide areas that they want to really help grow. And just to say that it's really because this was a 5-year term, and I've done with renewable if required, if not requested. And so I've done my 10 years. And so there's no disgruntlement. It's been an honor to work with the working groups in this role. I'm not leaving OMERACT. I'm just allowing a different person to step up and do some leadership and take us in good directions. So just wanted to put that plug in for that role.
Thank God you're not leaving.
I should add that in, Dorcas, a statement about handoff when I send that out this week, actually.
I just want to make sure people, like, I love it. I'm having a ball doing it. It's work, but it's really neat, and I really enjoy listening to the working groups. So
I think we've talked about this over time, but one of the interesting things, well, at least one of the interesting things I think about what we're doing is that not only are we sort of developing methods and we get to see all of you implement things, and then we can make changes. This doesn't work for a group. This is wrong. And those are what lead to our updates of the handbook, things that you all tell us, this is too much. Look at this checklist. This is a better way to look at things. So we take all of that and we make changes to what we recommend. So it's sort of this back and forth between OMERACT handbook and then the working groups. And it's sort of been a really great way to do things, I think.
And it's great because I spend a lot of time with the working groups, and we do listen. Like, we listen to when, you say we'd like a new form for this, or a new process, or we need guidance on this, or so yeah, I like that too, Dorcas. It's kind of like an honor when you're working with the groups to sort of hear those things, and then you're so proud when they're presenting at the meeting and stuff. It's like, oh, all of that came together very well. So thanks to everyone as well. Ariane has joined us, which is really nice because she's now in our time zone. I didn't know if you wanted to, Romy's away and the timing isn't good for her, but I didn't know if you wanted to give a quick update on the shoulder work, which they're working very hard on their.
Well, they're working very hard.
Yeah.
And trying to get a lot of stuff done before the OMERACT meeting itself. And I think we have a very good group and a very nice collaborative process with a lot of different people. So yeah, I'm not sure whether there's a lot more to update, other than that, we're trying to do our, what is it called, the systematic reviews or the reviews on instruments. At the
Yeah, they've got two
Yeah.
going, the Oxford and the NRS. So they've been really, really working hard, and those fellows are amazing. So
yeah, they are.
yeah, awesome. Thank
So
you.
they will probably have something nice ready for the OMRAC conference that's
Yeah.
coming up. So that's fine.
And you've permanently moved back to the Netherlands now, so you're not going
Not yet.
Oh,
I
okay.
haven't seen a third of the Australians still, so we're going back to do another 3-4 months of travel to see the last bit we haven't seen. So, and then I will permanently move back.
Oh, okay. I
That
see.
sounds wonderful.
Yeah,
It is.
that's definitely a Peter Tugwell thing.
Oh,
I don't know if there's any, Sarah, I didn't know if you wanted to give, you got a lot going on within your PMR group as well.
Yeah, PMR group, we're trying to we had a bit of a quiet year this last year, so we're trying to kind of get our momentum back again. So myself and Claire Owen are leading on that, and we're really sort of trying to get our instrument selection sort of through. And there's probably be working on 2 domains. There are 2 more domains that they're perhaps not such a priority, so we prioritize 2 of our core domains to take forward for instrument selection for the time being. And then we've got a bit of work that we did on the detailed domain definitions, which we haven't actually got published yet. So we want to get that written up as well, from the work we did before. So I guess 2023, actually, it would have been domain definitions. So we're going to try and write that properly so that it's for everybody going forward.
And you did have a question to me, and I did ask Dorcas actually, about the stiffness.
So yeah, we had some one of our domains is stiffness, but we found that difficult and challenging because the stiffness on the medical side is usually conceptualized in terms of early morning stiffness duration. But then when we went to our patient research partners, we got some really quite strong feedback that they don't really care so much about the duration, but it's more about severity. So it's a different aspect of stiffness, which they think that we should be looking at. And, we are often seeing this, aren't we? You talk about pain, but do we mean pain intensity? Do we mean pain interference? So we've got a bit of a tension between the clinicians and the patients on that. And also the nature of stiffness in PMR is a little bit different from the nature of stiffness in rheumatoid arthritis. In rheumatoid arthritis, people tend to talk about their hand stiffness predominantly, and how long is it before you can start to do things with your hands, whereas PMR is a little bit different in terms of its impact, and that's what our qualitative research with PMR patients showed. It's a kind of different experience to the RA stiffness experience, and that previous working group on SIG on stiffness that we had a couple of AMRACs back kind of highlighted that. So just really kind of asking other people for their advice on how we might handle this, and sort of whether there's anyone can think of any experience of similar problems they've been through, or advice on kind of how to handle that side of things.
And what to do with the domain, which is in their core domain set at the moment, not in the research area. It's actually in
No. And yet it needs to research.
Shauna?
One of the first things that we're looking at when you look at Part A is go back and have a look at your definition. So you do have an opportunity as the working group to go back, have a look at what your definition is. So this is what we have from you for stiffness and as your definition, right? So you can pull this up with your working group steering committee. You can change this. And we're seeing that. I think the myositis group is doing that potential, and I think there's another one. So you can have a whole sort of conversation about this and make changes. So if it's not reflective of how you want to move forward, you can decide that before you start picking up an instrument and figuring out what you want to measure, even though.
Because I guess we had really based this domain definition on what the patients were saying, because we considered it to be a life impact domain. We thought that the PRPs are the ones that really can tell us about life impact, that it's, you know, conceptualizing it as that. Whereas I think in RA, stiffness duration is often sort of somewhat layering onto pathophysiological core area as well, because it's telling us about like disease activity, but here we're more thinking about the life impact side. So therefore, if we're sort of going more towards stiffness severity than duration, one of our challenges is that few trials have actually measured stiffness severity in this way. Like a lot of it has been stiffness duration. So there's a composite which includes stiffness duration, not severity, for example. So I guess that may give some practical challenges with instrument selection going forward on this, given what's out there at the moment, and that this is quite new. The idea of stiffness severity in PMR is quite new and came out of this AMRAT work.
Yeah, I remembered in Whistler, we had a lot of discussion on it. Yeah. What to do? I think
the first thing from a practical point of view is that you've got your 2 domains that you do want to fill, and maybe you could work on the 2 domains that you are going to work forward on, and then have a group really look at the stiffness domain and see whether you do need to change your definition and communicate that. Because I think if we do change definitions, when we voted on a definition and published a definition, we do need to sort of have a transparency of why it was changed, or whether it needs to be bounced back to the needs more research. But then you've changed your core set then. But there are a few options that you could consider.
Yeah. So I guess, because publishing our domain definitions was something that we wanted to do anyway, you know, in the documents that we submitted to you. So perhaps that's an opportunity to discuss that again within the group, to say, okay, we're going to publish this. Is everyone happy with this idea about this domain, at least within the group? Because now, of course, you've got this slightly expanded group membership since we last. We might need to do some engagement work with the group about stiffness, and maybe that is the first step as we prepare that publication.
That was an excellent conversation to have, because thank you.
Thank you.